Hi, Rachel.
Hi there.
I'm so excited and I'm so grateful that you decided to do this because I have been following you for a while. I'm in your group, and actually, I'm in two of your groups. So I'm really thrilled that you're here because we're going to talk about a lot of things that I think people are going to be really fascinated by. But
Mhm.
before we get started, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you do?
Well, hello. My name is Rachel, aka Lily Works Reseller on YouTube. I am a full-time stay-at-home homeschooling mom, and I also um, resell part-time, which is turning into full-time with YouTube and the new district platform that I am constantly promoting right now. So, yes, my husband is like, it's time to go to bed. And I'm like, now it's turning into full-time doing YouTube. Like, this is not the normal schedule. Um, So, prior to me being a reseller, I actually was a special education teacher, and it was like hard work. Very extremely stressful. I did it through two pregnancies, and I worked with a lot of children with trauma and behavior issues. So doing that while I was pregnant, it just totally wore me down. And I was told when I was taking my special education classes to get my licensure that usually burnout is around 5 years, and I kind of experienced it a little bit faster than that.
Oh.
Being a teacher, in that, like, I worked really hard. And if you guys know me, I'm a person that like doesn't quit. So once I found reselling, it kind of just stumbled across it because I was trying to sell things on Etsy that I made, and I just was not getting sales, and I was just doing a lot of work hand making and sewing things. And then I was at a marriage retreat with my husband, and uh, it was a Southern lady who was speaking, and she was like, you know how you go to Goodwill and you find things and you can just buy them cheap and flip them online to make a little money on the side. And I saw some other like wives were like, yes, and I was like, what? That's it. And I've been thrifting and antique shopping and in that whole world my whole life, and a lot of that stigma around how like going thrifting is for people who don't have a lot of money. I I'm like 32, so like me and my friends grew up mostly without that. It was just like a normal thing to go thrifting and finding finds. So when I hear a lot of people, especially on TikTok, make comments like you're stealing from poor people, I'm like,
Right.
really? I'm like, I don't get that, because there's, if you ever go to the bins, you see how much is like going to the landfill. So I told my husband I'm going to start with $100 and see if I can resell. Started reselling, like my first sale was shoes, and I started really getting into shoes because shoes were easy. Like I could just put them in the padded flat rate mailer and easy to store. I had a storage system, and like I love to niche. Like I like to have things a certain way. But then I was on the Nurse Flippers podcast, like her podcast that she does on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on with Tiffany from Thrifting Vegas, and she used to do shoes, but then she was telling me after the show that she like found her niche and her love of doing like glassware and home decor and things like that, and that kind of like filled her cup, and it
Yes, I
became
used to
her passion.
run into her at the thrift store because I'm in
Oh,
Vegas too.
oh, awesome. So
So I
uh,
do know her really, really well.
that's awesome. So then that kind of got me thinking, because I was just starting to dabble into jewelry. I come from a really conservative household, like Christian household, where you don't wear jewelry. We didn't wear jewelry. Like it was a big no-no. Even some people even chose to not wear wedding rings. So like started from knowing nothing. So if I say jewelry wrong, it's because I know nothing. People say I have an accent when I say jewelry. Um,
I don't
but
hear it.
yes, I get told that actually quite often. So I basically started from nothing, and being pregnant and having little newborn babies at home, I just needed to sit there and being able just to listen, just get it done quickly. And then I'm like, I'm really liking this jewelry, especially that like I grew up and my my mom and my outings together were going to the antique store. So it like totally like started filling my cup in all these different ways where it was beautiful and small, and you're learning about history and artist work, and you can like wear artist pieces. And so it totally like grew for a love for jewelry and collecting jewelry and reselling jewelry to like where we are now. I started after I did the nurse flipper twice. The only questions I ever got were jewelry. And so all the people that came from Nurse Flipper's channel were all like, tell me more about jewelry. Because it does sound really interesting to a lot of people who know nothing about it, because it is really easy to list, easy to ship, and easy to store. So then all of a sudden my channel just like almost completely went jewelry related, where I was answering a lot of questions like how to ship jewelry, how to source for
Right.
jewelry, and to where we are right now. I think I'm at like over 4,000 subscribers, and then 2 Facebook pages. So if you are not in the Lily Works Reseller community, definitely come check us out. We have the Buy and Sell Lily Works. It's a new Facebook page. It's a buy and sell like craft lot, Lily Works Facebook, and then we have Lily Works, that's vintage to modern, reselling, like research for reselling Facebook group. And that was my first one that I created because I would actually go into different groups quite often on Facebook when I was first researching jewelry, just to look at their files to see if I could find maker's marks. And I know that there's a couple of them that do have maker's marks, but I was like, there's so many that are missing or they're not updated. So I decided to like create a maker's mark file that I will constantly be updating for the members. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people use in the Facebook group that I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it kind of grew quickly. So if you are, if you don't recognize a piece of costume jewelry, the maker's mark, take a look at the file that I have. I try to put most pieces in that are more well known out there as far as maker's marks. So.
Yeah, and I think because I'm in both of your groups, and I noticed too, a lot of people will post, pictures of something, and they'll say, "Does anyone recognize this?" or "Does anyone have any information on this?" And so I think it's really good that not only do you provide that as a resource, but it's also a place to just kind of bounce ideas and get
Right.
feedback on certain things as it relates to
Right.
jewelry.
And I'm in several jewelry groups, and I constantly am getting my posts declined in those groups because
Oh
there are
yeah,
things
I
like
know that.
your hand is in it. There's not a picture of a measuring tape. We only post things like this on Fridays. And I'm just like, come on.
Really?
I like things to be a certain way to get towards a goal, but when it comes to helping other people, I totally recognize that there's all these different types of ways of learning, and people are starting from nothing, or maybe like they just don't understand technology. Like, I guess it helps that I was a special education teacher and I can understand that everyone learns differently. And
Yeah.
for me, like, just being flexible on our page and helping each other out is really beneficial to the whole community. And I think that's something that I'm trying to promote in that group for sure.
Yeah, well, it's a wonderful space, and I think you do a really good job, and your admins and your mods also do a really good job of making sure that everything in there is helpful and that people get the answers that they need. So I think you're doing a really, really good thing for all of us.
So
So how did you come up with the name Lily Works Reseller? I wanted to ask you that. Since
yes.
your name is Rachel.
So when I had my Etsy business, it was Lily Works. And
Oh, okay.
and my mom takes full credit of, I think she actually wants part of like the income to my business is what it actually is. Because before before I had started a business, my mom had come up with like a creative crafters studio, and she has a place up north Wisconsin. where it's like a property where she would always go to find respite and like be with God and have her little art studio. And she has a sign out there that says Lily Works on it. And being like Christian that I am, Lily Works is actually in the Bible. And so she came up with that name, and I actually really liked it, and that's why I decided to partner with her. But basically, it's doing your best even though nobody's watching, doing your best work even though nobody's watching, because when people created the temple to God, they created the temple with like all these ornate decorations, but at the top there was something called Lily Works that no person could see, and it was only for God to see. So that's where the name Lily Works came from. And so when we started hand making things, like my mom had all these labels, and then I started like reselling things on my Etsy, and my mom tried helping me, but she doesn't she just doesn't know. But like Lily Works stuck, and it's also a really good reminder that even if nobody's watching me, even if nobody's like being the boss over me, telling me I'm doing a good job, that I'm not doing it for me. I'm not doing it to get accolades. I'm not doing it for someone to tell me I'm doing a really good job at whatever I'm doing. So that's Lily Works.
Wow, that's beautiful. Because I know a lot of people probably think your name is Lily because that's what I thought
Yes.
at first. I said, "Oh, her name's Lily," but then I
Yep.
realized, no, her name is Rachel.
Yep. That's why I
So,
have to now say in all my videos, AKA Lily Works in every intro. Yep.
all right, so let's talk about YouTube then. How did you get started, or why did you get started with YouTube?
So I am a natural teacher, I would say. And so I needed an outlet. And also, I have not spoken about this at all in my YouTube channel at all, as far as like why I started. But like I would say in high school, I had a traumatic event happen to where it pushed me into extreme panic attacks and anxiety on a long term years basis, where I would have panic attacks in a school. And so I actually ended up like completely avoiding school, and I stopped going to school my senior year. Didn't see any of my friends or anything like that, and I was in a really bad spot in my life. And I couldn't even like go to church groups or anything. Like I stopped everything because I had such bad anxiety and fear of like public speaking, fear of being in a classroom. But I really wanted to be a teacher eventually. I didn't know how that would happen because that was like my biggest fear more than anything. And even like the thought of speaking to somebody, I would just start shaking. And so I had to like I basically, what I did is I forced myself to go to school for teaching, started at like a tech college, and I said, I'm gonna look so foolish when I'm done after 3 years. But after 3 years, I'm gonna say I did it. So I did the 3 years. I looked foolish. I had panic attacks the whole time. But I did it, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do the next. I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead. And there were so many times when I opened myself up to my vulnerabilities, and I was a terrible public speaker. I'm like, I'm going to be the worst teacher ever. I couldn't even do it. Like my words would come out jumbled. And eventually it would me doing student teaching in a classroom, it would start triggering those panic attacks that I would have. And I learned how to deal with those and cope with those. And eventually I kept pushing myself to do that. And so long story short is once I stopped teaching, I didn't want to stop presenting and putting myself out there because I had worked so hard to where I was, and people now would never know that I had like this extreme like trauma response to like talking to people. So that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to do YouTube, because I didn't want to like go back to closing myself off, because as a reseller, you can totally do that where you can close yourself off to basically the
Yeah.
world because you're just selling from home. and that just kind of pushed me. And I do love having a community, and I do love connecting with other people, and I really do love helping other people, and I naturally love teaching other people. So a lot of jewelry resellers can grow their channels really fast by constantly selling things from their YouTube channel. And I tried that, but then I was like, you know what, that's not like me. Like I just like teaching. Like I like teaching and showing, and so that's kind of like what Lily Works Reseller is all about.
Yes, you have a really good educational channel because I've learned a lot from watching your videos. And I think it's really good because we all seem to have specialized knowledge as it relates to jewelry on something. Like most people, like somebody's really good with silver, somebody's really good with, I don't know, other types of jewelry. You know what I mean? So I think that the more we can share what we know, it's going to be so helpful for others, not just now, but obviously in the future as well. So
Right.
I really enjoy your channel. I've been a
Aw.
subscriber for a while, and but this was way before. I mean, this was I started my YouTube channel. I want to say last year, but I was subscribed to yours before I even started mine because I was still learning about jewelry. Because I try to subscribe to as many jewelry channels as I can, you know, even though I can't watch every video on every channel, but
Mhm.
every now and again something you know, something interesting will come up. I'm like, oh, because I really like when you do your unboxings and stuff.
Yes.
Those are fun to
Yes.
watch.
Yes. Sometimes I watch other people's channels that I really, really enjoy, and they'll be shopping, and then I'm like, "Why are you picking that up? Tell me." What is They're like, "I'll
Yes,
grab this and I'll grab." I'm like, "Well, tell me more." And so then I found
yes.
myself doing that, like, when I pick something out, I'm like, "And this is a sparkly like, I just say all the words because that's how I learn. And so now for some reason I'm deemed like the keyword queen, but
Oh, that's good.
that's just because that's how my brain works, and I wish that, like, when people go shopping or unboxing, like, "Why are you keeping that? Why are you selling that? Tell me."
Yes, and it's the same too, like, you wonder why people don't pick up stuff, like, you ever watch
Mhm,
people shop and I'm like, "Well, I woulda grabbed that, but
mhm.
they left it behind, so
My
am
friend,
I missing something?"
my friend Janine, she has a channel, Slow Happy Vintage, and she just did a Shop Goodwill unboxing, and she does the same thing where she did her yes bin, her maybe bin, and her no craft bin, and she was putting almost everything in the maybe bin. And so many people were like, what is going on? Because she's very like picky. She really likes the high end, like Art Nouveau and Victorian and Czechoslovakian. Like that's her thing, which I can
Ah,
totally appreciate. But when she like was just pulling things out, she's like J. Crew maybe, and like a lot of people would be like, that's a good
I was
one.
gonna say, J. Crew's pretty good, it sells well for me.
Yeah, right. So yeah,
So
it's interesting.
so now let's talk about the selling part since we're kind of moving in that direction. So do you only sell on eBay, or let's talk about where you sell, how you sell?
Right. So eBay is the most lucrative. And I would say it's where I would start
Mhm.
before I would cross post anything else. So start on eBay is really like starting to list on eBay is easy because you can just do sell similar and almost
Right.
everything is in there for you. The only tricky thing is if you're getting started with selling jewelry is like figuring out the shipping and the weight. Um,
Mhm.
but once you get over that hump, it's pretty easy. And um, and then from there, I also cross post using Vendu to Poshmark, Mercari,
Okay.
Etsy, and my own Shopify store, which is lilyworksreseller.com. And then
Oh.
yes, so that's what's linked below all my videos
Mhm.
is the lilyworksreseller.com. And then right now we are trying to amp up District, which is a new selling platform. I was on Whatnot. I will say that um, I am not a person who gives up. So I definitely thought I would be going back to Whatnot after. I'm trying to think. I think I took a break a couple years or a year or so ago, and I was selling jewelry and a lot of the people who I constantly refer to, like Jen from my French teacher in VA, like they were the people who came to my Whatnot shows regularly and then like pity purchased things where they're like, I'm here, I might as well buy something, right?
Yes.
And
I
so
got some of those too.
my my mindset is like you keep building your following on Whatnot, and then it'll just keep gaining traction, and I totally still agree with that. But that's kind of what's happening now on District, which is you can do live selling on District, and a lot of like YouTubers have been talking about District in the same way that they talked about Whatnot. And so a lot of people who are on Whatnot, 2 to 3 years ago, I actually even interviewed someone who was like doing live Whatnot from the thrift store, and I ran into her, and now she's huge on Whatnot. But like they're doing really, really well because they stuck with it. They continued, and it's kind of like with YouTube is like you make no money for such and such year or so, and then you make
Right.
a little bit, you make a tiny bit, and you're like, okay, like you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And that kind of happens a lot with side hustles, reselling, everything. So District right
Right.
now, because other YouTubers like Commonwealth Flipper, who's really good at like, I don't know if you know Kevin Commonwealth Flipper.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've met him several times at events.
Okay, cool. Like I trust him because not only was he a teacher that then made his like reselling business really lucrative for him, but like he's just really like wise. So when he looks into things and he researches things. So the first time that he talked about District, my ears perked up. I had heard about it from Jocelyn from Knickknacks.
Yeah, that's where
I
I
was
first heard
Yes, and
about
she
it.
had her live,
Um,
and I was in the live, and she's like, the District website crashed because so many people were trying to jump into it, and I was like, what is this? So I decided, okay, I'll apply. We'll see what happens. I haven't listed anything yet, but once Kevin started talking about it, I was like, okay, because it's like once you get it in the front of something that could be potentially a lot bigger, you're
mhm.
more set up for success. And what's awesome is that it's more of a community thing. So you're setting up your community for success, and it's not just a one person show. So, what we're doing, well, first I asked the jewelry community, what is something that we're looking for? It like not replacing eBay, not replacing Etsy. I feel like my collector pieces do really well on eBay and Etsy. As far as like if I find an Alfred Felipe, if I find a Miriam Haskell, if I find things that I can put a lot of really good keywords with it, I can get some really good um, top dollar profit for those. But
Right.
we have like a lot of things where so I brought a lot to just show you. Like it has enough. So this is my patriotic lot that I just put up. And it has things in here that would really entice someone who, just wants a bunch of jewelry. They love the 4th of July, or they love America or whatever, but they want a good deal. And this is a bunch of stuff that doesn't have enough keywords to list separately. So that's kind of what the community started thinking. Like, we want to do bead lots, we want to do craft lots, we want to do wearable lots, we want to be able to like sell things at like a more discounted price, but it's kind of like window shopping. So so you're not having to heavily focus on keywords, and it's up to whoever is the social media influencer to market and to gain traction and to gain members and people to join the community. So it's interesting. I'm wondering how it's going to like turn from a lot of resellers knowing about it to more of like the general public. And it's one thing that made me confident is that the backers who invested into Whatnot also invested into District. So then that made me think, okay, like
Hmm.
this has some traction, some momentum. And because it's in the early stages, I mean, there's still a lot of things to work on, but I'm like actually very pleasantly surprised as far as like sales go, because we've been like having like 5 sales a day on district. And
That's great.
yeah, especially for jewelry, because jewelry can be like a
A
slower
slower
sell.
one, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I also extended it to people who are too intimidated to sell on other platforms,
Mhm.
um, to be able to try to sell on district, because then they can promote within the Facebook group. They can say, hey, I just put up our buy and sell Facebook group. I'm making those two separate for that reason, that they can promote themselves. So for instance, I bought this from one of my sellers. This I bought for $20, and it is all these clip-on earrings that they did not want to list individually, but I do, because this is my jam right
Wow.
here.
I was
And
gonna say, that looks like a great lot.
these are glass too. Like some of them are plastic, but like glass. So they're the cluster clip-ons. I could recognize this one, this Cameo, as a West Germany piece. So that those clip-ons
Wow.
itself like is a reseller lot in my opinion. So so that buyer could go onto the Facebook group and say, and have a link to their product and say, hey, and we're a jewelry community. We're not only helping each other, we kind of know each other, but we can start like marketing out there. And then I can take, their reel or their link or whatever and put it onto different social media platforms like Instagram or a Facebook page, or just other places that I can get the word out there. And so yeah, we're slowly building it, and it's pretty exciting to be on the front end of something. And I think we just do you know Daily Refinement?
Oh,
He's
yeah, yeah, I used to be
I
in his
think
group, so I know
yeah,
Chris.
I think our group just passed his group as far as members, which is
Really?
I mean, he only has 4 listings on there, but
Yeah,
um
it's probably not his
no,
main
no, no,
thing.
no, no, no. But and then there's also people who have district who are they will restrict the amount of sellers on there because they want to have more members in there than sellers. But I think what's great about like our community is like we're also buyers. So like we could want to sell, but we also want to buy. So like I wanted to buy those clip-on earrings. And there's some people in our group who are like, I'm looking for a bead lot because I like harvesting and I like repairing, and then they will resell what they've repaired. So we're like, I think our community works in that way where we are both buyers and sellers, where I don't have to like limit the sellers in the group to a specific number, because I'm like, I mean, if you want to be a seller, go ahead. Like that is totally fine with me.
All right, so explain to me then how the district works, because when I first heard about it, to me it seemed like it was very MLM-y, where somebody signs up and then you got to sign up under them and then they get a percentage of what you
Right.
sell. And that was really a turnoff for me because I didn't like that. Like, I understand we have to pay fees no matter where we sell, but if I have to pay, and I'm probably wrong because I don't know how it works, but if I have to pay fees, to list or whatever, then whoever I'm under, they're going to get a percentage as well. Then I'm wondering, is it really like, are you going to make enough money as a seller if you sell on the district? I guess that's my
Right.
question. So explain to me how all
Well,
that works.
let me just be candid, and this is something that I feel like I need to talk to district a little bit more, because I had the same question, and I also listened to what Kevin was saying, like specifically about that as well. So the social media influencer, doesn't make any money. In my case, it might be years. I don't even know if Jocelyn, who has the most, like, there's a specific threshold you have to make any percentage of money on there.
Okay.
So for a very long time, whoever is the leader of the antique store or whatever, however you want to think of it, they don't make anything. They're the ones that are just like building a community, marketing, and trying to help each other sell. The way that I'm making like money by marketing and stuff like that is like they do have a coupon code, just like Poshmark, just like Mercari, anything like that, where if you sign up and become a member, and you can get
Oh,
five,
like a referral fee.
yeah, you can get $5, and then I would make $5 on whoever is going to make their first purchase
Okay.
on my thing. So I guess in that way it's not an MLM, but also I feel like, how can I put this? So district's fees are 10%. I don't know if you've watched that video that I put out on there about like explaining district, but district's fees are 10%, which is the least amount of like fees on any platform. Mercari is also 10% with a processing fee. What we're paying for, what we're paying fees for, is them marketing and being on a platform where there's going to be eyeballs. And so I think how district is working is eventually whoever's the social media influencer will get 5% of that 10%, and district will get the other 5%. But that's after a really long time that you can show that you're making sales and successful. And so instead of like me paying, right now I pay about 20% to Poshmark, 20% to eBay. We're fine with paying those fees because those are the people that are getting eyeballs on our items. And the same thing with like an antique store, we pay commission fees or whatever because they're the people who are marketing to get our items sold in the store. So it's the same thing where we are paying district the fees to get our items sold. And then eventually, after a long time, possibly the social media influencer will get like 5% after all that's said and done. So hopefully that makes sense.
So, well, then what's the incentive then to sell on district? Because from what I'm hearing, I could be totally wrong, but it's like you're basically building a community on their platform because they're going to profit off of buyers and sellers in your community that you build. When you can take those same efforts and do your own thing on like how you're doing with Shopify or just sell on eBay, what's really the advantage or what's the incentive to even be on district? Is it just because you can create a community of people that buy and sell the things you like?
Right. So how my thought process went, and I explained it in one of my videos, is I was taking all of my maybe wearable things, and one of the reasons I created a Shopify store was because I was planning on just being like, okay, you guys, I'm putting up these lots for you, and it was going to be linked down below, and it was going to just be me. Here we go. But within our community, the Lily Works Vintage to Modern Reselling Facebook page, a lot of people reached out to me and asked if they could promote their Whatnot store or Whatnot shows, if they could
Mhm.
sell. And so I was like, I don't want to turn our research community into a buy sell community. And then there was a lot of people that were super worried about, I don't know how to do eBay, blah, blah, blah. So once this district thing came about, oh, and then also like Alexa Craft in our group, she was like, I have so much jewelry that a lot of people would want to resell, but I don't want to resell it. And so it
Mm.
kind of, and then I'm like, I'm the same way. I have a bunch. So I put out a couple polls of like, is this something that you would be interested in? It? Like, I don't want it to replace eBay. Like I said, I don't want it because it's not going to replace those platforms where you can put keywords in on Google and the first items that show up are going to be eBay, Etsy, blah, blah, because that works. But this is like creating like a little bit more of that social piece where if someone's like going to be like, hey, can I promote my Whatnot show? I can be like, yes, our community does live shows. Here we go. And so I can say to them, yeah, we can buy, sell, whatever, within the district platform. Now, if I
Okay.
could like, I know the niche lady, she is like creating her own type of thing, the niche shopping network, where she doesn't have to pay anybody any fees, like she doesn't
Right.
pay district fees, but she has to build that all herself. She has to figure out how to do money processing and uh, all those things.
Yeah.
And
And then getting traffic to
but,
her
but
site.
I totally understand why she's doing it, because this whole new way of reselling, like community based, is interesting, and because it's integrating the live selling, it is moving towards the future of reselling.
Mhm.
Um, and so I was like, okay, because I can like the people that I know, like Jen or Hannah or Tara, we were all like Whatnot sellers, and we're all like a group, and we're just going to each other's shows. And I'm like, we could do this like as a community now, like, hey, because I don't want like our whole feed to get join my Whatnot show. Here's my Whatnot show, blah, blah, blah. Like, because people are going to not want to be in the group. I want people to choose to want to be in the buy, sell. I want to come to your Whatnot shows type of a thing.
Okay, so then I guess it's more about filtering out all of the self-promotion in a
Yep.
group, and you're kind of moving or giving people permission to do that,
Yeah.
only though it's in the district where that's welcome. It's like, yes, promote your show, show us what you got, that kind of thing,
Right.
as opposed to in a Facebook group where it's cluttering up the feed or it's cluttering up, every post or all the threads or whatever. Okay, so I see that, but I'm still trying to figure out, because building a community is a lot of work. Now, granted, if you're someone huge like Crazy Lamp Lady or anybody who has, the niche lady, she's got a huge following. She may not have to do that as much as say I would, if I wanted to start that. So I guess if you already have a solid community, it would make sense. But for somebody who's like just starting out as a reseller, who still is learning, it probably would not be the ideal next step. Is that sound accurate?
So, yes, and I I don't know if who I'm going to be talking about watches this at all, but or listens to this. But
It'll be both.
a I was in a onboarding where I came with all the questions, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I still feel a little bit out of the loop as to what's happening. Like, as far as district goes, I'm just like kind of learning as I go. I mentioned in my other videos, I'm the kind of person that likes to watch other YouTubers succeed and watch the YouTube videos on how to succeed and then go. But now I'm the one making the videos of how to list on district. So it's a little like daunting. But the person who I was in the onboarding with, she was like, yes, let's go. I'm so excited. I'm going to post this on Instagram. And she has like 15 members and she's been on it for like way longer than I have. And it's the same thing. It's like, you have to put a lot of work. You can't just like go on district and be like, come find me. It's a lot of work and marketing and
Yeah, just like
building a
Whatnot.
community. Yes,
Whatnot's the same way.
yes, yes, yes. Right, exactly. And so that's kind of my choice, is like, I thought that this would be a good opportunity to do a Whatnot type thing, but more for the community, because I just saw it as a really good opportunity for all of us. And then also what Kevin was saying is like, we're getting on the front end of something that could be a lot bigger. And I was like, okay, yay. I want to be on it, because I saw the success that like Whatnot people had.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not 100% convinced like it would work for me. I'm sure it's the perfect solution for a lot of people, but it just seems like and I feel this way about Whatnot too, where it's basically like they want us to do the marketing for them. They want
Right.
us to bring the buyers on. Whereas with eBay or Poshmark, they're actively trying to bring buyers to the platform. But I don't feel that with Whatnot. I feel like Whatnot depends on the sellers to do that.
Yes. No, I agree. I'm right with you. I've had it in my mental note regularly, like I need to talk to them about like how what are you guys doing to bring, because when I talk to them, like I said, my biggest concern is bringing people who are not resellers to the platform, because I
Yes.
was like, our community is resellers, but then also like with jewelry we're also collectors, so it does work in that way, which is fortunate for us. But someone like ADH Dave and Commonwealth Picker, they have dibbed it where they have like resellers going there, and they're finding like, where's the buyers at, because we're all here but we need the buyers and not the pity buyers, like the Whatnot pity buyers and stuff
Yes,
there.
yes. I have a few. I mean, without them, I probably would have not had very many good shows.
Right. And like I was like that with my best friend. Like when she started Whatnot, I was like buying all her clothes, even if it didn't fit me. I was like, okay, I'm supporting you.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, this is still something that it's still on the forefront of my mind. I'm seeing it being successful. So one thing, like right now, it is I have a Facebook page that is my marketing page. It's not the groups or anything like that. And it just says like buy and sell like vintage jewelry lots, blah blah blah. And I have people regularly message me from the commute, like from not the jewelry community. Like I will post an ad out there that I create using like TikTok or CapCut, put it out there, and then I'm like, I've answered like 4 today, and then I just direct them over, and I'm like, okay, here we are, we're over, here's our group. So I'm looking forward to that day where we have a lot of members in there that are not just sellers. You're
Uh-huh.
right. I'm not like completely convinced, but right now I feel like it's healthy and it's growing, and I am seeing other, like I think it was like 2 days ago I was messaging someone on Facebook who responded to the ad. And right away it got one of the um sellers in the group. She made a sale from that like conversation. But like, yeah, it is work. And like I brought these over. This is another way, is I'm starting to put these
Are
like,
those like coupons or thank you cards?
yeah, it's just when I sell jewelry, I put these in the jewelry, with the jewelry box, and I write a little like thing on the back, and it directs them over to like the new jewelry community, come on over. So like I have a lot of regular buyers on eBay that have saved my shop, regularly buy from me, and I could see that also turning into something on District, is where you have a regular following and regular buyers. But like I said, it's still a new platform. I still have these questions as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is because I do talk to a lot of jewelry buyers, right? People who don't resell. And the thing is what from the buyer's perspective, let's take reselling out of the equation, right? Let's pretend we're just buyers. The thing is they're starting to get overwhelmed with all these platforms, right? Because they can go to so many. They can go to Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Etsy, whatnot, District, and maybe some more that I don't even know about. And so buyers are getting overwhelmed, and I feel like it's kind of doing a disservice in a way, because the process really isn't that streamlined on any of them, right? I mean, eBay probably would be the best, but it seems like there's a lot of to learn as it relates to not only selling but also being a buyer. Some buyers don't know how to use search. Some buyers don't understand how the shipping works. Some buyers don't understand, the terms and conditions of making a purchase. So I think that if there were a way that this could be simplified for buyers across the board, I think it would be a little bit less, maybe a little bit less confusing. And I think it would benefit us as sellers because then buyers would not be so intimidated. Because you even said a lot of people message you with questions or not understanding how something works. And I feel like even with Whatnot, they don't do a whole lot to educate sellers. Most people, because I've had new sellers come into my show and they don't know how to bid and they don't know, oh, they're
Mhm.
accidentally bidding on stuff and they didn't
Yes.
mean to do it. So when you do talk to the district people, tell them if they can not only take the time to help us sellers, but maybe really do something to assist the buyers because I've spoken to them and they're overwhelmed. They're like, well, what is this? And well, should I buy here? Or you know what I mean? So
I agree. I completely agree. So I see where district is coming from. They have not polished it by any means, and it is not. It's still in the early beta stages.
right.
But what
I'll give them that.
how it came about is there were, I think she said like 3 guys from corporate Snapchat who is in the whole social media world, and they came up with the concept of district where there was going to be a very social platform. So there are a lot, and so they were kind of thinking along those lines. People are going to have questions, they're going to have in search of, they're going to have here's my collection, do you have anything, like just being a really social type of community, and like being able to make sales off of questions and being social and things like that. So like, who you're in the community with, which I totally get, and it kind of goes along with what you were saying a bit. But how they have it is they have these chats on the side, and it will say like in search of or whatever, and it's not super streamlined. And that is one of the main reasons why I created a Facebook group to go along with it, because Facebook groups are just so easy to navigate, and they like, you could just be
Yeah.
scrolling through Facebook and not even be thinking about jewelry, and then all of a sudden you see, oh, can you help me identify this, just because you're scrolling, and then all of a sudden you're like popped into, I can answer that for somebody, or oh, that's interesting. And so like district has not figured out how to like create that type of group community into district, and I think they want to, and it's really confusing because I'm like, yeah, that's too confusing. Like, because I will ask a question in like district support. How do I make my first shipment? Um,
Do
and
they have a shipping service linked so you can ship it directly from the
you
district?
do, but I mean,
Okay.
it is a little confusing because you have orders, and then you have another tab underneath that says shipment. You can't ship under orders. You have to go to shipments. I'm telling you. So there's just still a lot of things where the questions that you might ask, like a lot of people might be like, how do I do this? And then, oh, go to the seller support chat, or and they want to have people really active in chats. But I think until they figure that all out, I'm going to continue to use the Facebook groups to keep the momentum going, as far as, yay, I made my first sale, or hey, come check me out, or hey, I'm looking for, because you're able to like post pictures. It just randomly shows up while you're just scrolling, and if you're in the group, like it might catch your attention when you weren't even looking for it. Whereas like in district, you have to like go on to district and then be like, I wonder what's in search of today. Like people don't normally do that, right? Like I
Right,
don't even do
right.
that as the admin. Like I'm just like, there's too many chats to look at, and I'm just like, unless they physically tag my name and it comes up in an email, I'm just like, I'm not gonna scroll through all of these, right? So
Exactly.
that's kind of the thought behind it, and maybe that's why our group is growing faster than other groups who just started, is because there is that social factor into it. So like I have people who are joining the Lily Works buy and sell Facebook group because of the word buy and sell in it, buy and sell
Yeah,
jewelry.
that's why I joined.
And
Because I
so
thought it was a place where I can buy and sell in that
and
group, and
so
I
and
realized it's
that's where
not.
I'm like, okay, so now you're here. Woo, you're here. And now here's the first steps. I caught you. You're in the group now, and we're a lovely group, and people are giving each other high fives. So I've had several people join the community just by doing that. And so, yeah, I see the potential and I see it working. It's just feels like a lot of work right now because it is new. Yeah, yes, you can ask my
Yeah.
husband. It feels like a lot of work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, we're in the building phase, so there's going to be a lot of kinks that need to be worked out, and that's understandable. Um, but like I said, for me, I don't see the benefit for me to sell there right now. Now, I signed up under the crazy lamp lady just because she made the announcement, and I said, "Oh, okay, let's see what it's all about." But I've
Yeah.
never sold anything. I've never bought anything over there,
Mhm.
and my friend Sunny Las Vegas, he does really well over there. He does a lot of shows, and I think he does shows every week, at
Yeah.
least a few times a week, and he does really well with vintage glass and collectibles.
Mhm.
I don't know if he's done any jewelry shows over there. So, but from what you're telling me, it's really good for jewelry. So I think it's just another option if you are looking to, get more exposure on your items or try to find another outlet to connect with other resellers. From what I'm hearing from you, this is a really good option. Is that correct?
I think it is, and I think what I wanted to put out to the community is what is something that you're looking for that's not going to be replacing those other websites like you were talking about. And so the things that are being sold the most are like the lots where people can use to repair stuff or even resell. So
Mhm.
that's what's being like most successfully purchased. And so another thing that I've been doing that I'm hoping can help other like YouTubers. The reason I got this idea is my friend Jen and Janine were like opening up lots. And when you open up lots on eBay, I'm sorry, on YouTube, you will get a lot of emails saying, "Hey, are you selling such and such?" And Sherry over at Blessed Baubles completely sells everything from her YouTube video. Like she just like she just started, and then everyone started asking her to put prices on it, and so she was like, "Oh, how do I do this?" And so then people started asking me, and how much for your baby lot, how much for your craft lot, blah, blah, blah. And so I found that it was just so daunting to keep track of all those emails that people were sending me,
Yes.
and they weren't like, I'm like, how they would just briefly describe it, like not a timestamp, not a picture, nothing. And I'm like, and like Sherry and I had a conversation on the phone where she was getting really overwhelmed, like, and I'm like, my brain needs to work where I take a picture of it. Okay, you can just, and like I even saw people like where the niche lady, she was doing it where she was putting items in her Shopify store and doing a shop with me type thing, and people were like, I want that, I want that. And then people weren't buying it after she would put it up. So I was just like, I need to have a place, and that's why I opened Shopify, where I'm like, if people want it, here you go. You said you wanted it, and it's there. And so I put something on District now, where if you're creating uh, a video where you're doing an unboxing, and then you can create a listing, and you can tag the word YouTube, and it will go in the collection from a YouTube video. So you can say, hey, if you want to buy this, you can just follow the link here instead of having to be like bombarded from all the
Emails
emails.
and
I've actually
comments.
sold all my maybe lots, all my craft lots just by doing that. And then I can put the link in the description below, and then it's gone. I've already made more money back from just the maybe and craft lots than what I spent for the entire bag. And I'm like, oh, that was so easy. Like I didn't have to go through all that hassle and people not responding to my emails and
Well, see,
doing.
now wouldn't it just make more sense for you then just to do Shopify? Because I would think if someone sees you do an unboxing that, "Oh my god, I wanna buy this," they go to your Shopify, they can buy the thing, you can get your money, they get their item, and we all live our happy life. Like, wouldn't that be much simpler than managing the whole
So
district thing?
it would be simpler, but like I said, I was having other factors all coming together that kind of was like, okay, how can I, and then how can I incorporate this? How can I support whatnot shows? How can I do this? How, like, people want to
Oh,
do.
I see what you're
And
saying.
so it was like, can this potentially be a community? So I don't know if you know Dawn Hudson
Oh,
Vintage.
yeah, she's one of my favorite channels.
Okay.
I'm
So,
hoping to get her on one day.
so, um, so I accidentally signed up for district under her name because she had launched her district, didn't know anything about it, but she just said, this is going to be a community where I'm going to be, instead of you guys bidding under the YouTube video, you can just go ahead and bid here and the money will just go through. I don't have to do any PayPal links. So I was bidding and I put all my information in there. And so then I was like, oh, like, I had no idea that I was actually a part of it. But I think the idea that's really enticing for like YouTubers, not only could you potentially make money down, like, way down the line, just like YouTube, but you're doing it with your community, and it's like you don't have to manage PayPals and this and this and that. Like, getting into that world of PayPal, like, I know uh Thrifting Vegas, she does that a lot, where she does PayPal invoices, and my brain cannot handle it. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
that's a lot of
Yeah.
admin work, and then, um, to me, I think that that's not very efficient because as jewelry resale, I mean, unless you're selling, high dollar stuff all the time, a lot of jewelry resellers, they make money by volume. And so if you're selling, say, 25, 50 pieces, a day or however often,
Hmm.
you don't want to be sitting there doing 25 emails, 50 or invoices rather.
Hmm. And
That's
a lot of people don't use Shopify or don't set up a Shopify store because there is a monthly fee to have your own.
Yeah, Hudson Vintage has a Shopify store too, I think.
Right. Hmm. So my sales on my Shopify store don't cover my monthly fee,
Not
barely.
yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
They will.
But
They will.
but like I said, um for me, like, putting things on like, I even will say, like, if you are interested in this item, and I'll have it in my, and people still will be like, here's a screenshot of exactly what I want. And I had said, like, if you want this item, click the link down below to come to my store. And they still don't, and I don't know why things are selling on district. I don't know why it's easier for some people, but it is. And like I said, I've only made like 10 jewelry sales on Shopify. Um, I don't know. It's one of those things. So
Do you do live shows on YouTube or live unboxings and
I've done live unboxings, but not for selling. I kind of, I tried doing the whole, like, I would sell this for this much if you wanted it type of a thing. But then that's not my personality. Like, I'm more of like a teacher. So, like, if I'm holding something up, I don't like thinking of how much I want to get for it. I'm more like, ooh, this is so this and like, so I just kind of fell away from that. And then, yeah. So that's where we're at. I'm not trying to convince, everyone to come join district. I mean, I will guilt trip you though. You better come. I'm just kidding. um,
well,
but no,
I
it's
think
it's going
you've
pretty
done a
good
great job explaining it, and I think that's, really the first step if people understand what it's about, how it works. Um, and I think people would be more inclined to join with you because they know that you really want to help people and you want to build, you're all about the community. You're not about just, oh, I want to make money, I want to make a lot of sales. You know what I mean? I think people really feel the genuineness and the authenticity of what you're trying to do.
Well, thank you. And I'm working really hard on that part of it for sure. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm still figuring it out, I'm still growing my whatnot. It's funny because I do better on Poshmark Live than I do on Whatnot, and because I think it's just because I have a lot of followers on Poshmark, not that that means anything, but it's way easier to get people in your show on Poshmark than it is on Whatnot, you know,
Yeah.
especially when, and I'm sure you probably know there's some really big jewelry sellers on there, and when they're on, I can pretty much guarantee no one's gonna no one's gonna come in my show and looking at my stuff.
Yeah. So so I was approved to be a Poshmark live seller, but then again, I was like, you have to put a lot of work into something just like Whatnot to
Mhm.
start building. And I guess district right now is the avenue where I'm going. And I guess that's kind of like I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna keep going because I wasn't completely convinced with Whatnot. I kind of it was difficult. It was difficult to build a following, but I did it before they. I know that there's like raid features and everything now,
Mhm.
um, which I never, that wasn't around when I did it. Um, but one thing I did here, I'm still learning about like district live sales. I purchased from her name is Peculiar Finds or something. She does regular weekly jewelry sales on knickknacks. I bought a bunch of things from her, and I'm hoping to interview her soon for the channel to learn more about how to live sell on there. And what's nice is that if someone in our community wants to live sell, we already have the community there. They don't have to try to build it up on Whatnot. It's already Lily Works Reseller community. You get an email, come join us. I will, I would be like, hey, so and so's having a live show. So it would be nicer for people who don't have to build up or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
that's really great.
another thing that I've heard just recently, I think today, is that if you sell things on your Whatnot show, or I'm sorry, on your district show, or your Buy It Now on district, you can do like a prorated like fee for every item after that. So I put $1. Like, so there's the original shipping cost, and then you can say every item after that is going to be $1, anything that you purchase from me. And that would continue on after the show ends. Like, you can still shop in my shop until I just go in and ship things. So you can still buy things with that discounted um, shipping fee all the way up until I decide I'm going to ship your items. So that was something I didn't know. And I found that out today. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's actually really convenient too, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
All right. So, okay, so is there anything else then you want to share about the district? You know, if someone is on the fence or someone is still confused.
Oh, well, just know that it's confusing and we have people there to help you and support you. I think, well, honestly, I think that if you're on the fence about jewelry reselling, I think it's a really good place to start
Mhm.
because it is really, really easy. And instead of having to figure out categories, it's all jewelry. Okay, we're doing jewelry. And then once you get your pictures in there, um, you I already have preset, they're called hashtags, but they're actually just categories or descriptors that could connect you to different like collections. So it might say celestial or art deco or 1980s, or you just are going to pick which one fits your specific thing that you want to sell instead of having to do what's the length, what's the color, what's the blah blah blah. Like, you don't have to do that. You can just pick your hashtags, if you will, in there. And then um you the most difficult thing is figuring out shipping. And I've just suggested get a scale and then go ahead and just start listing, because that's like probably the hardest thing is figuring out the shipping. But there's only a few options there, and then jewelry is really easy to figure out because it is so small. You can just do the ground shipping for basically any jewelry piece. And then
Do they offer insurance and like those options and all that stuff? Okay.
yeah, it's actually pretty easy to do the shipping. And it comes out like if you have a Rollo printer, and you want to print off, it comes off in your roller just like it would eBay or other platforms. And you can choose different shipping, like the ground shipping, and it will tell you this is how much it will cost you for ground shipping, and this is how much it will cost you for the USPS priority. And so you can choose which one you want to have on there. And then what I would do as like the influencer is I would choose like a collection to highlight for the week. And this week we're talking about like Valentine's Day stuff. So anything that someone has tagged as romantic or hearts or love, I take everything that all the jewelry that have those tags, and then it shows up in a like a Valentine's Day collection. And you probably have seen that in Knickknacks where she does like this week is cats, or this week is feeling blue, or whatever. And it's because all those tags, and that's really good for beginner resellers, because they might not get exposure or a following or anything like that. And this is a way to have them be more confident. And I have like 100, I think 110 sellers right now. And I would say I have a lot of sellers who have come to me saying in their application process, because it will say like, show me your eBay store or give me a link to your Poshmark store so I know that you're legit in their application. And so many of them will say, this is my first time, but this actually seems something that's doable for me. And I have a community of people that I can reach out to. And so I think I have had at least 20 people who have said that to me in their application. Like, and I'm like, okay, that's great. And so, and there's people that have been like, this should only be lots. And why are people posting single things in here? Because they could just do that on eBay, right? You could put a Miriam Haskell on eBay and it will sell. But it's probably people that are like, I don't understand how to resell, and we're making that available. And I'm surprised because we've actually sold like 3 things that I was shocked. Like I was shocked. Like someone sold a sterling silver bracelet for $60 the other day. And
Nice.
like, it's not just lots that people are selling. People are actually making sales of like normal things that they would put on eBay, which I haven't even done yet. I've only been putting lots or things that I'm just like, here's some incentives. You guys go buy these Monet clip-on earring lots at a good price because you want to resell it. And I've actually made like, I think more money on District the last couple days, just putting things on in lot. It's kind of like the whatnot thing. Like you get it out fast, you might get it, you might sell it for less, but you're making money faster. And so when I'm reselling the things just from my live videos or whatever, I'm like, wow, that was fast money instead of keeping it around or whatever. And it's because you can like advertise to your group, you can get it out there. And because it's Valentine's Day, there was someone who just put a bunch of heart pendants in a lot for $15. And all I did was like, hey, this is a great Valentine's lot. Next thing you know, they sold it. And like, I think that's one upside to the District community is like, you're already in a community and you don't have to like build the community. Like it's already there for you. It's already supporting you. And there's already people there that can have eyeballs on there for you.
Yeah. So then people also feel like they can trust the seller, I guess, because they're already in the community, kind of like they're already pre-screened in a way. And so they know, okay, this is a legitimate person. I'm not going to get scammed. I'm not going to get
And
ripped
how
off.
many times have you gone on eBay to buy jewelry and you like are like, is this from China or is this really sterling? Right? Like
Right.
when I buy jewelry on eBay, I will select pre-owned. I do not futz with the new, because I know
Mhm.
that all the people that are doing pre-owned most likely are jewelry resellers. They've tested it. They like, like I trust them way more because I've purchased like statement rings that even they're marked 925. Like, and I come and I wear it for like a couple days and the brass is coming through. And
Right.
I'm like, nah. And yeah, so it's definitely like a different feel. And also like the community is wanting to like give each other good deals, which is awesome as well because you kind of like know each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, if I do decide to sign up, I will sign up under you. Now, can I do that even though already signed up under Crazy Lamp Lady? Would I
You
be
mean
able
be a member? Yeah, you can be a member of
of as
multiple.
many?
So
Okay.
people have like equated it to like virtual antique shops. I know somebody's even like called it their virtual antique shop. You can be a part of multiple. The thing is you will get like once you go to your district homepage, you'll get
Mhm.
a lot of different featured items from all the different places that you follow. I think they did that on purpose because they want you to see a bunch of stuff that you might be interested in. And then you also get emails. So the more markets that you follow, the more like emails you get if so and so is going live and this and this and that. So kind of be choosy. Don't like sign up for every single marketplace, but you definitely can sell under multiple marketplaces. And I think that it is really smart of people to be in a niche marketplace because that's what that marketplace is known for and that's what the buyers are going there for, and it makes it easier to list and everything like that and shop.
Yeah, so cuz that's what I would do. I would want to be in a community page, group, whatever. Uh for people who are looking for jewelry because that's what I sell and that's what I have
Right.
a lot of. And as a matter of fact, it's funny you say that it's lots because I have a lot of lots that I'm trying to
Yeah.
move, you know?
So I wanted to like I don't know like who all is like watching or listening to this, but before like everyone just starts signing up for a district, um I I encourage people who are selling on the district on under Lily Works platform to not do any like mystery bags because we when we buy those on eBay, a lot of times we were very disappointed.
Right.
Um, and I see that a lot of people who are displaying their jewelry lots do it very similar to if you ever gone and shopped goodwill.com and you've purchased lots on there where
Mhm.
you can see everything and you make a much more informed decision of what you want because and like you're not disappointed. So until we build a really trusting, healthy community, not to say that it isn't healthy now, but like just really thriving community where it's like buying, selling, communicating. Um, I have only done like mystery lots if I've shown it on a YouTube video and people have seen it. And so and that's another reason why I created the YouTube chat tab is like people can see it on their YouTube, like it's from YouTube video, blah 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 blah. That this is what it is, and otherwise something like this, I'm not gonna just be like mystery patriotic bag because like people are gonna be like, ooh, I wonder if there's something in there. Like there might be a crown trifari or whatever. Like you lay it all out, you display it because there are people out there that want to buy. And so um Sherry at Blessed Baubles and other YouTubers are really, really successful at selling jewelry at cheaper lotted prices because it's kind of like a QVC addiction almost to a lot of
Yeah.
buyers. I don't know if
Yeah.
you noticed that. And so I think that like our community selling wearable lots would entice a lot of buyers, just not on eBay, not on like all these places. But if you can click on the collection where it says wearable lot, I just have to find those buyers because the people who watch
Yeah.
my YouTube channel are not necessarily always buyers. Mostly they want to learn about jewelry, but people who watch um, Blessed Baubles, they're like, I want to buy all those things. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in whatnot jewelry sale or shows where they're like selling like a cheap stretch bracelet and $4.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And people are bidding.
yes,
They're fighting for it.
right, right. And so, but the thing is like this isn't necessarily cheap jewelry. It's just it's a curated lot that I wouldn't list individual take the time to list individually, but this would be a really great deal for somebody who really like I think I have it listed for $9.99. And it's something that's just sitting there. I have so much just sitting there, and I'm making a
Mhm.
cute thing. And that was another thing that got me thinking is like Sherry, she does her color days where she's putting together lots just like this, and people are like, that is so adorable. But it's all things that you're like, I don't have enough keywords to put this on eBay. Or I have so many stick pins that someone would probably love making Christmas ornaments with or whatever, but they're just sitting here. And so I'm like, let's get them listed. Let's get them out there so that they're not sitting here forever. I've tried doing lots on eBay. And then the next step, like I said, I'll just put them on Shopify, the Shopify website. But no, so now I know I keep talking about it, but that's where we're at.
Well, you've been so helpful, at least I know for me, uh, explaining district because like I said, I really didn't understand what it was all about and what would be the benefit to sell there. But if you're looking for a community as well as a potential client base or reseller connections, whatever the case may be, looks like this could be a really good option because I was very skeptical when I first heard of it,
Yeah.
and then because I sell on multiple platforms as it is, I thought of it as, well, this is just one more I'm going to have to manage, one more I'm going
Right.
to have to.
No, exactly. And right, just if you are already a successful seller on all those platforms, like I would consider myself a successful jewelry seller on multiple platforms, and I know how to use those different platforms to my advantage. I don't use District to replace those. I'm using it right now for these kinds of things, and that was one of the needs that we talked about in our jewelry Facebook, is like, what is a need that we're looking for, not to replace these at all. But and then I'm actually really pleasantly surprised because you're able to go into the different marketplace shops, and you can click on a little tab that says activity, and it will say so and so listed, joined, listed, joined, listed, and you can see everything that's happening in their community. And then you'll see like a sale 5 days ago. And I was like, what am I getting myself into? Like, one sale 5 days ago? How slow is this? But I think because we already have a really good community, um, just the Lily Works and jewelry community, and they're just some really, really just kind and helpful people in our community. And I'm like, wow, five like I had her name is Sienna, she's the admin. She keeps like, you're doing so great. How is this moving up so fast? And it's like it's going, and I'm like, how did you sell that? How is that happening? So I'm actually pleasantly surprised myself, and I was much more skeptical like going into it, but I was willing to take the risk. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you're phenomenal. That's all I have to say. You are just phenomenal with this because, you know, I think people just really like you and they like learning from you. And so it's a natural transition for people to follow you there as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Well, I guess before we close out, is there anything else that you wanted to share? Or I will have a link to all of your socials and stuff in our show notes. So that way, if you want to connect with Rachel, you'll be able to follow her and join District or whatever. Is there anything else that we need to cover to make sure people feel like they know
No,
what they
I
need to
mean,
know?
no. District is the baby right now. I'm telling you, I'm getting into an antique booth like within the next week or so.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the first one, and um the Printify thing is all happen, like it's like multiple things, but right now District is the big baby we're working on right now, and the one I want most people to know about, because and I was so excited you like reached out to me, because I'm like, I feel like it's like really hard to get the word out there. Let's go. And
Yeah.
um Yes, and so I thank you a lot for bringing your jewelry people over to learn more about it. And you guys are all welcome. And yeah, come join our Facebook groups. They're very, very helpful as well.
Yes. Yes, I'll put links to those in the show notes as well. And maybe what we'll do is maybe in a few months when things kind of get rocking and rolling, we'll check back in with you and you can come back on and give us some updates and let us know
Yes,
how things are going and growing.
I was thinking maybe 2 years, but no, yeah,
Well, you never know. You never know. Sometimes things, miracles can happen. I'll say it that way,
right.
and sometimes it just takes like one person or maybe one thing or maybe I don't know, who knows
Girl,
what they're gonna do.
that's why I'm doing TikToks, even though I do not like TikToks, is like one TikTok can make you go viral. So I'm
Mhm.
like, you guys, okay, so one actually did go viral, but it wasn't one that I was hoping for. It was one
But
about
still, that's great.
like um Garfield spice containers. And that like and I was like, no, and I want one of the jewelry one, like so everyone just comes to the store and they all like it starts going viral, but not that one.
Well, because I love social media. That's my thing. That's my jam. And I just learned that TikTok is actually starting to. I mean, they have TikTok Shop and people do lives on there and live selling and whatnot. But TikTok is actually really kind of reformatting their platform to accommodate landscape videos and longer form content. And so, because of that, if you are posting long form content or landscape videos, like and long form on TikTok is 5 minutes or longer, um, those videos are automatically going to get a boost in the algorithm.
Hmm.
So I'm sharing that with you because if you do have some long form content to share, TikTok is really boosting that right now. And
I
so
did I
you
did
can
see
probably
that.
have that go viral.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say I saw that. I heard of that, but I also heard that it was an option that you could select, and I haven't seen it, so I might be because I'm not monetized. So I don't know if that's only an option for TikTokers who are monetized because I just started TikTok like 3 weeks ago, and
Oh,
I think I have like almost 600 um people
followers.
followers. Yeah, 600. I know you have to have 10,000 to be monetized.
Well, yeah, they have different I think there's two, maybe there could be more, but last when I checked into it, there's one where you have to have 10,000 in order to be part of the TikTok monetization, creator monetization program. But you can get that because if you start doing what TikTok wants, which is long form landscape, right?
Yeah.
Your content's going to get pushed out to way more people
Yeah.
because
Have
what
you
takes
done that?
I just did it today.
Oh,
So I'm experimenting. Today was
okay.
my first because I just learned about it day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I just did it today and I haven't checked my phone to see how it's doing. But
Mhm.
I didn't realize I did a landscape video, but it's supposed to be a minimum of 60 seconds and mine is not. I didn't realize it had to be at least 60 seconds. But
Mhm.
I'm going to see how it does.
So, I learned that from my husband who he has ADHD and is on TikTok all day, and his
It's so
brain's like,
fun.
woo. Do you have ADHD?
I don't know. I've never been diagnosed, but I
Okay.
think I probably do.
Yeah. I can probably diagnose you. I'm just kidding. Um, but so he knows everything about TikTok and he's telling me all the oh you need to do the long form blah 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 because this and that
Yes.
and then I heard ADHD Dave. He is another YouTuber who also has ADHD. He was talking about the long form content. He said he
Mhm.
did it, and right when he did it, he every minute he would refresh it. He got another 1,000 views because
Mhm.
TikTok was pushing it. But he said that once he actually looked at the insights, is that the average length of time that people watched his video was 0.03 seconds, and that's like as long as it is to swipe. So they were pushing it out more, but they weren't pushing it to the people who wanted to watch it. Which I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it is on the back of my brain, but like I think I was telling my YouTube viewers is like I'm such an old lady, and so the opposite of my husband is like I like watching things that is like slow and like, oh, like let's do this. And so me putting myself out there like, woo, and we got this, and here's all the clickbait and all this like fast stuff, like that is so not my style. But I'm gonna have to like keep it, because it is, you can reach such a bigger audience. I was so
Yeah.
surprised how fast my TikTok went up, like in 3
Mhm.
weeks, and how many people are like reaching out. And like I'm like, well, it took me so long on YouTube to get anywhere. Like so I that is something I definitely need to work on, and thank you for reminding me of that. For sure, I will do that.
Well, like I said, it's not easy for any of us out here. I think all of us are just trying to grow. We're trying to build. We're trying to make money, and it's not easy. That's why I'm glad there's people like you in the community who are so willing to help and so gracious with your knowledge and the information that you have. So I appreciate you, and I'm sure our listeners and our viewers appreciate you as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And thank you for joining me for this time. It was a great conversation. Like I said, in a few months, we'll check in with you, or I don't know, however long, whenever
Yeah.
we feel like like there's something exciting to talk about. But
Yeah.
yeah, let me know. We'll keep tabs. And I'm in your group, and I'm subscribed to your channel. And I'm just thrilled. I mean, this 2024 is going to be so exciting because there's so many things happening, within the reselling community. I mean, there's just so much going on. So it's a really exciting time to be a reseller.
Yeah. This whole experience right now, you know what it makes me feel like? It makes me feel like I want to have a podcast. I love talking to somebody and not to myself and not to the camera.
Well,
Um,
me too. I think that's uh,
like
it's so
you
rewarding.
like you bringing up 2023, and I'm just like, I want to like sit here and keep drinking my tea and let's talk about the economy real quick. Like that's how I feel. I have nobody to talk to. My husband's like has no idea what's going on. Like he's like, okay, great. You have this many packages, yay, okay. So,
All right. Did you have something? I didn't want to cut you off.
awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
And like I said, all of your information will be in the show notes. And if there's anything else that I can do to help you get the word out or whatever, please don't hesitate to reach out. My inbox is always open, and I am more than willing to do what I can to help us grow this community strong and as best as we can do.
Okay. Thank you so much.